This is Sam Kirby, host of Cinema Stories. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hey, it's Baxter Colburn here from Public House Media. Did you know that we just added a store here at Public House Media? No, I'm not talking about a grocery store where you can go buy apples or bananas or peanut butter, which are all fantastic, especially when peanut butter's on all of those. Anyway, we've added a store here at Public House Media so you can not only come and represent your favorite podcast network, but also represent your favorite shows as well, too. Just go over to thephmedia.com and look in the top right corner where you'll see the button that says Store. Click on that and you can search through all of our great products. Or if you go to our Facebook page, Public House Media, you can see on the left-hand side a tab that says Store. All of our products are listed there as well too. It's the new Public House Media Store. You don't want to miss it. It is fantastic. Buy some of that great swag to support your favorite shows and to support Public House Media. Check it out today.
This is John Lauder, host of The Cheap Seats here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, The Cheap Seats, where we talk about sports from the fans' perspective. A new show comes out every Monday. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Cheap Seats. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Welcome to Beauties-headcanons, where we're nerdy, and you probably are too. This is Lindsay, and I'm here today with Elisabeth and Emily, and we're here to talk nerdy to you. Cosplay is so cool. I've never done it, but I want to try it, and I've been to a lot of conventions where I just get really jealous of all of the amazing costumes and cosplay that's going on. So today we decided we wanted to talk about our dream people to cosplay, and why. I wanted to define first what cosplay is. Cosplay is the practice of dressing up as a character from a movie, a book, a video game, and it used to be especially one from the Japanese genres of manga and anime. However, depending on the convention, you can be anyone you want to be. Wikipedia states that it's a hobby in which cosplayers wear costumes and fashion accessories to represent a specific character. A broader use of the term applies to any costume role-playing in venues apart from the stage. Any entity that lends itself to dramatic interpretation may be taken up as a subject, and it's not unusual to see gender switched as well. So cosplay usually has no gender, no race, no body type. You are who you want to be because you can be. A lot of favorite sources do still include anime, cartoons, comic books, live-action films, television series, and video games. So basically, you get bonus points for being able to act like the person you're dressed as, or the character that you are, and it's just a ton of fun for a lot of people.
I've never done cosplay before, but I've always thought it would be super fun. And so for my first pick, I picked somebody maybe kind of obvious, Wonder Woman. First of all, because I just asked my daughter who I should dress up as, and she told me Wonder Woman, like right off the bat, no hesitation. She said Wonder Woman. And she said that she wants to dress up like Wonder Woman too. And I'm like, that's just adorable. She's 3. She'll be 4 soon. So like, it's just super cute. I love it. Also, Wonder Woman is just a powerhouse of a superhero. She's super classic, super iconic. Everybody knows who she is. And so, you know, it's kind of hard to go wrong cosplaying as Wonder Woman, you know?
I'm pretty sure my daughter has told me the same thing, too. I'm pretty sure I've been told that I should be dressed as Wonder Woman, and I'm always like, oh, I think you like me more than that lately.
Yeah, I think just about everybody wants to be Wonder Woman at some point in their lives.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my first pick is kind of a bit more simple and maybe slightly more obscure. I would rather roleplay or cosplay as a female soul survivor from the main character of the Fallout 4 game. Canonically, she's named Nora, but I mean, obviously in game you can name her whatever you want to, and you can choose her hair, how she looks. So I mean, looks wise, she can be anything. So wouldn't have to go for a specific hair, makeup, or anything like that. And obviously, you know, depending on how you play the game, her personality kind of is dependent on that. But I normally play as a good person. I normally ally with the Minutemen and the Railroad. Sometimes she's a little more sassy or sarcastic, so which is a little bit more in line with my personality. But ultimately, you know, she's obviously very, very customizable. The one thing that really would tie that cosplay to the franchise is a Vault 111 jumpsuit and a Pip-Boy, and that's pretty much it. It's a kind of a simplistic cosplay, but, you know, kind of a personal one for me.
So
Okay,
I
sorry.
risk sounding...
Same here. I think I'm going to say the same thing.
I don't know what a Pip-Boy is.
Neither do I.
A Pip-Boy it's a device that's actually attached to your wrist in-game. It's actually how you access your inventory in-game. But it's supposed to be basically like a little personal computer. It's attached to your wrist, and you just bring it up and you scroll through your inventory. You can change out weapons, your armor, your outfits.
Okay.
You can select your mission or look at your map or anything like that.
Nice.
It's kind of an iconic part of the game. It's been in there, as far as I know, since the first Fallout. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, just obviously a huge part of the franchise itself.
So I recently watched Thor Ragnarok. I suppose I saw it probably in theaters when it came out, but I had to watch it again with my daughter because she hadn't seen it in theaters, and then of course I had to pretend like I didn't know anything at all. And I risked telling her a lot of things about Valkyrie, which was my favorite character in the movie. In Norse mythology, a Valkyrie is actually one of a host of female figures who choose who may live and who may die in a battle. They and of course I've always loved the Norse mythology in the Thor movies, so I had to say a little bit about that. But they are those who select among the slain in battle, who they bring to Valhalla, which is ruled by Odin, and who they don't. And it actually, when they aren't the fallen soldiers, when they're not training, they actually are brought mead by the Valkyries. So I thought that was really interesting. In the comics, she's an Asgardian named Brunhilde, and in the comics, she has blonde hair and a blue cape, a brown bodice, and boots. And that's honestly the one I would cosplay because I do have blonde hair right now. But Tessa Thompson plays her with long dark hair, and she's got the white armor and the blue cape in Ragnarok in the MC universe as well. So either way, the costume's really cool. I like that we meet her as a destroyed warrior, that she's drinking copious amounts of liquor, that she's training Hulk, and that she's Scrapper 142. I think it makes her very relatable. She's just been destroyed by what has happened to her people. But when she does come through and she has this allegiance to them and her eventual call to action, I like that she's so real about it and that it's so turning for her as a character. So I would want to cosplay her because of that, because she's so real.
That's definitely one of the better things that I liked about Thor Ragnarok was the character Valkyrie. As far as, you know, the issues that I had with the movie, that was definitely one of the bright spots. So
right.
Definitely a great choice.
For sure, yeah. So my next person is actually not a person. It's I have a family cosplay idea that my husband and I have been throwing around. Because he is a big League of Legends player, and I'm getting into it a little bit too. And if you don't know what League of Legends is, just Google it. It's huge. Like, seriously, there are professional, like, leagues, like, for football, but for League of Legends. Like, it's fantastic. We watch it as a sport sometimes, so it's super fun. But we want to dress up our family as League of Legends champions. And so I would be a character named Quinn and Valor. That's the actual official champion's name. And Quinn is a female archer, and she has an eagle companion named Valor who carries her anywhere on the map and can, like, basically make her fast travel really quickly throughout any of the places on the map to help her fight. And so she is what's called an AD carry, or an ADC, which means that she has a lot of attack damage, but she doesn't have a lot of health, which means she needs a support character. And so my husband would be Bard, who is a wandering caretaker who protects those who fight for good, aka me. And so Bard is, he casts spells, and as he casts spells, he attracts little things called meeps. And these little meeps are spirits that help Bard cast his protective spells, and those would be all three of our little kiddos. Soon to be 3. I have I have 2 right now, and I'm very pregnant with the third. If I haven't already had the baby by the time this episode releases, because we're recording while I'm still pregnant right now. But I'm really literally due any day, so we'll see how that goes. But I think this would be super fun because it would all go together, and it kind of combines me and my husband's interests together. And it's a little bit on the unique side, too, because it's not too common that people from video games get cosplayed, although it is getting to be more and more common from what I hear. So,
I love seeing family cosplays, seeing just a whole family decked out and, just a whole kind of theme, just connecting each other together. I really like to see that.
Yeah, I think it would be a lot of fun. And, like, one time we dressed up for a Harry Potter party for our friends, and we dressed up the whole family as little Harry Potter characters, and our son was a tiny baby at the time. He was a couple weeks old, so he was a mandrake, and it was great.
Aww. My second is my first comic book character, and it's Lady Loki, which is not just a female version of Loki. I know, Lindsay, you had said that cosplay has no gender, but Lady Loki is actually different from Loki. Canonically, Loki can switch genders, and when he does, he becomes Lady Loki. And she's just this smart, cunning, dark, little evil, but I mean, who doesn't like that sometimes? I mean, she's really everything you want to be as a villain. And I just love the character in general, so I mean, obviously, I would want to cosplay an aspect of that. Looks-wise, it's a lot more specific than my first one. Obviously, she's, got this long, dark hair. In the comics, her kind of most common, I guess, or most typical outfit is kind of like this green jumpsuit with this gold trim, these gold-colored boots, and a white fur cape. And, of course, she has that iconic golden horned helmet that she wears, either as Loki or Lady Loki.
Nice. It almost sounds like the Loki outfit costume from the Avengers. Was that when he wore his green and gold? Was that the...
I think I've seen it come up a couple times, yeah.
Well, it's slightly different in design because, I mean, obviously it's going to fit a female form a little bit better, so it's... The top is kind of a little bit more corset-like. It's a bit more cut into the body and everything like that. And, but I mean, yeah, it kind of keeps in with the theme of, his other outfits. Obviously, just kind of a little bit different. That's, Loki has a very basic, color palette of usually like, green and gold with maybe a little bit of black or sometimes white, as in the case of the fur cape, but... Yeah, I mean, he pretty much keeps within the same color palette no matter what.
Nice, yeah, that would be really cool to see.
So my next one is actually still in the MCU, but the Marvel Universe. I wanted to feature Agent Carter. I've been told several times that I should dress up as her, and I've always loved her. I've always been Team Captain America, so her storyline was just the coolest that I loved from, everybody's got a romance. Everyone's got a romance story. Thor has his romance story. Everybody has their romance story. But I loved Agent Carter's romance story with Steve. In the television show that came out, she is a secret agent for the Strategic Scientific Reserve. And obviously this is after events have gone through with Captain America. She's dedicated to fighting new atomic threats that emerge after World War II. She works in New York, and then she goes to Los Angeles. And as she's in Los Angeles, she goes to Hollywood. She makes new friends, a possible new romance. All of those things they tell you in a television blurb to try and get you to watch the show. And I will admit, I haven't watched the show. I wanted to. It's not on Netflix. I know that I can buy the DVDs. Is it? I don't have Hulu.
It's... My husband and I are watching it right now. We're almost done with the second season, and it's so good.
Oh, I need to watch it. But of course, I would love to play her because of the time era that she's in. I love pencil skirts and the 50s dresses, the red hat that we see her in, the blue long coat, the black pencil skirt, and I love that she has a storyline after Steve, and that we know that her storyline doesn't really bring him back into it until he meets her granddaughter, and that her granddaughter has influenced her to become to kind of follow in grandma's footsteps. So nice. I love that there's this timelessness to the strong female character that she is.
Yeah, no, just watching the Agent Carter series, like, there's only 2 seasons of it, but it's just, it's really well done. And my husband, when he found out that there were only 2 seasons, he was like, what? He's like, I'm suffering from a little bit of shock right now, and I don't know how to deal with this, because he thought there was going to be like 5 seasons or something. So he started watching this, and I kind of just assumed that there would be 2 seasons because it was on that list of like preparing for Infinity War. So that's why I started watching it, is because we're trying to catch up with the Marvel stuff to get ready for Infinity War. And it said to watch season 1 and then season 2, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's probably 2 seasons. But my husband had no idea, so now he's like, oh no. Yeah. So my third pick is from Firefly, and if you have not found a way to watch Firefly yet, guys, seriously, please find a way to watch Firefly.
Like, what are you doing with your lives?
Seriously. It's true. I think it's not on any streaming services right now, unfortunately. But find a friend who owns it or something. Like, my husband and I bought it on iTunes because it's amazing. So,
it's only 1 season?
Yeah, 14 episodes. Check it out. And then if you are really enjoying it, check out the movie. Or don't, because it might make you really sad. Anyways, I chose River Tam from Firefly, and I think that would be super fun. I can't go into a ton of detail about her, because even though I've seen all 14 episodes of the show, and I've also seen the movie Serenity, her story is still pretty mysterious. It's kind of shrouded in Joss Whedon's idea behind what the whole Firefly series was going to be about. And so her backstory is really unknown, but she is a really, really epic person. She's a super genius, but she dresses very simply. She looks very plain, so you wouldn't expect her to be very important at all. But she's a super genius. She is actually really highly skilled in combat as well. So that's just awesome.
What I think is interesting, too, about her, if you were to cosplay her, there'd be these really fun little, like, personality tics and things that you could play around with.
Yep. If you've seen the show, you'll know what Lindsay's talking about.
Yes. You could have a lot of fun.
Yes.
That's kind of similar to my third pick. She has a lot of interesting personality tics, and that's Harley Quinn, specifically the version from Arkham City. Harley is one of my absolute favorite DC characters. She reminds me of myself in a lot of ways. Was codependent for years and years until she kind of, reached her breaking point and broke free and kind of comes into her own as far as, character development goes. She's very smart and she's very creative, but, she's also just a little zany. So she's a lot of fun. I think she'd be a lot of fun to play around with. She's been around since the early 90s after being initially introduced in Batman the Animated Series. And, because of that, obviously, her costume and character design have gone through a lot of changes. Some a little bit more comical, some a little bit more serious, but they all pretty much come with a standard black and red theme. And my personal favorite design for her was from the video game Arkham City. It's a little bit more based in realism. It kind of gives her the ability to kind of kick butt a little bit more easy than some of her other costumes where, she's wearing like skirts or something like that. And it's kind of like just this dyed leather pants, just like some basic boots, a shirt, and some gloves. And obviously if I would want to do her, I'd need to get like a blonde wig and put it in pigtails because, that's kind of her iconic thing is pigtails. But that's pretty much all you really need to pull off the clown princess of crime.
Nice. That's awesome. I honestly hadn't been really familiar with Harley Quinn a whole ton until the movie came out, Suicide Squad, which I haven't seen actually. I'm just really unfamiliar with the whole DC side of the comic world.
Don't see it if you can help it. It's I really don't have a high opinion of it.
I've heard the same thought from a lot of people, so I'm probably not going to end up seeing it. But
and I hate to speak ill of it because a lot of people say, "Oh, you're just a Marvel fanboy," and "Oh, you just bash DC," and it's like I love them both, and I want them both to do well, and I will definitely call out Marvel when they do, when they do subpar. But I just find a lot more. I find a lot more to nitpick with DC, and that's definitely one of the bigger ones that I have issues with. So if you want more info on Harley Quinn, I definitely would look into the Batman the Animated Series, because that's where she's introduced. Paul Dini is the one who helped create her, and he writes her best. So if you want an intro on her, check that out instead.
Nice. And I almost feel like if Suicide Squad had gone the route that Deadpool did by being an R-rated movie, it might have done a little better, just because of the content that has to be included.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of kids watch the movie, and I always was a little taken aback by that, not really being sure if I would let my 10-year-old watch it or not, and her telling me all of her friends were watching it and she had no interest, so I was glad for that. Yeah. We haven't seen it yet either, so
lucky break.
Yeah. I did have a lot of fun watching Gotham, though. I thought that was a really cool take on introducing the different characters, and I had a lot of fun trying to figure out who they were featuring as this actor playing this thing. And I know it's very loosely based, it's very kind of loosely derived, but I really enjoy seeing how they bring the different aspects of Gotham into that storyline.
Cool.
So my third character is the new Doctor for Doctor Who. I didn't actually know who Jodie Whittaker was until it was mentioned in something I was reading that she was in Broadchurch, and I finally made the connection. I thought it was really cool that she has played with David Tennant before, because I just love David Tennant. But not a whole lot is known about her, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen very many episodes of Capaldi's Doctor, so I've got to catch up before she starts showing us in October. So
I'm in the same boat. I have to catch up.
I've got to catch up. I have seen a few pictures from some conventions she's been at, where she's got the chopped blonde bob, which of course I can still do. She has these brown pants and boots, a long coat. I think I saw like a blue t-shirt with some horizontal stripes on it. And I, of course, was already thinking, okay, I need to get to the Goodwill so I can figure out how to put this together.
Nice.
Other than empowering women, and let's get serious, women have been cosplaying as the Doctor for ages. I think it's really cool to have this faint unknown element to the Doctor, where now it's suddenly going to be a female character, and we know that, and we've been able to embrace it. I'm excited that the TARDIS is going to be piloted, not companioned by a female. And I really am excited because I heard a little bit about how Jodie is excited to take on the Doctor role, and she said something like, "It's more than an honor to play the Doctor. It means remembering everyone I used to be while stepping forward to embrace everything the Doctor stands for. Hope. I can't wait." And I was so excited to hear her say that, because it's such a daunting role, but at the same time, it's going to be so exciting. It kind of reminded me in one of Matt Smith's final episodes, where he talks about how we all change, and when you think about it, we're all different people all through our lives, and that's okay. That's good. You've got to keep moving, so long as you remember all the people you used to be. I will not forget one line of this, not one day, I swear. I will always remember when the Doctor was me. And I was just like, I'm so excited.
That's awesome. Yep. So the spirit of the Doctor lives on, no matter who plays the Doctor.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yep.
My fourth character that I chose, I was having a really tough time trying to decide, but I think I have to go with Tayla from Stargate Atlantis. I was debating if I wanted to cosplay as an elf, but honestly, if I tried to cosplay as an elf, I don't know specific elves all that well, so I'd just be randomly picking an elf from a hat. So since I know Tayla specifically as a character from Stargate Atlantis, I'm going to go with her. Okay. She's a native from another planet, so she's technically an alien. She's not from Earth, but she's from the Pegasus Galaxy, which is where Stargate Atlantis is set. And she's a really awesome fighter. She's also, she has a rare ability among her people where she can sense the presence of the main enemy race, and they're called the Wraith. And that is super helpful because the Wraith feed on the life force of humans, which is why they're a super bad thing, because that makes people die. So she can actually sense if there's a Wraith nearby, and she also can have use that ability to kind of tap into a Wraith's consciousness, and it's really interesting to see how she uses that ability in the show. She's a super, super just friendly person when she's at Atlantis with the rest of her crew and with the rest of the people. But she's also like really fierce as well. And she's in the show, the person that plays her, she really looks like Jennifer Lopez a little bit, like with bangs. If you can imagine that. So like, she did have bangs at one point, but she does a little bit look like Jennifer Lopez with bangs. And, but she's like this super petite little girl that you wouldn't imagine being a good fighter, but she's like super scrappy, and like she fights with, Ronan, who is played by Jason Momoa. So he's in this as well, but he's in his like late 20s, early 30s in this show. Something like that. So like, he's much younger than you would imagine him now as Aquaman.
Okay.
But Taylor and Ronan fight and spar, and she oftentimes can like overcome him. So imagining that, she's pretty epic.
So kind of like the Arya versus Brienne of Tarth fight not really fight, but sparring session that we got in the last Game of Thrones season.
Yeah, in a way, the unexpected like, oh, I actually have these skills. What are you looking at?
That was one of my favorite Game of Thrones moments, just in case anybody couldn't tell.
So good.
Well, my fourth pick is, it actually took me a while to kind of settle on this one because there's, obviously a lot of different characters that I'd like and that I would like to cosplay as, but really when it came down to it, I had to go with Velma from Scooby-Doo. She's just one of my longtime favorite characters, and I know, when most people think of Scooby-Doo, you'll probably think of like Shaggy or Daphne as, if you think of a girl character, but Velma was always my favorite. She's embodies everything that I love. She's just smart, she's sassy, she loves to read, she loves to research, she doesn't really, let the guys boss her around. She's kind of her own boss. And she also loves short skirts, so who doesn't like short skirts? And it's a pretty, another kind of simplistic cosplay too, because you could pretty much go to a Goodwill or any kind of thrift store. You could pick up, like a short skirt, a sweater, some knee-high socks, shoes, and a brown bob wig. I wouldn't even need to get glasses, because my own glasses would work well for Velma.
Again, I'll admit that was actually one of my honorable mentions. I was trying to decide between her and the last one that I actually did go with. My final one is Linda Belcher, Bob Belcher's wife in Bob's Burgers. I have often tried to get together this cosplay so that I can dress up my daughter as Louise and we could go. And she is, so it's also like her personality. She's enthusiastic, she's friendly, she's funny, she supports her husband through thick and thin. She's always super supportive of him, even when the ideas and things that he has might not be the best ideas. And even when they fail, she finds like a good way to look at it. She's just joyful, enthusiastic for whatever she undertakes. She has a few episodes where she's really into dinner theater, and she sings songs randomly with her kids who she embarrasses totally. I am that person. My daughter and I will be listening to a good song in a grocery store, and I will dance the twist in the middle of the frozen pizzas. For anybody who's ever seen it, I apologize, but my daughter and I have a really good time. And she just kind of embodies the mom I would like to be. She's supportive of her husband. She loves her children, even though she doesn't necessarily always understand them, and they are characters in themselves. And she's just so much fun to watch. This cosplay would be really easy too. The red cat eye spectacles, maybe a 50s flip wig, a knee-length white apron. I think I've priced it out with the skinny jeans and the red raglan shirt, and it's like $25 if I'm being conservative.
Nice.
And I did have the honorable mention that I'm sure Emily will agree on if we could figure out how to cosplay Miss Frizzle from Magic School Bus, we could have so much fun.
That'd be fantastic.
Oh, yes.
All those
I
dresses.
love Miss Frizzle.
Yes, we could each wear a different Miss Frizzle dress, and we could all be Miss Frizzle at the same time.
Yes. I mean, red wigs all around, but absolutely.
Right? Oh, yeah.
So I think that's the end of our list. Guys, thanks for getting nerdy today with us.
So talk nerdy to us. What characters do you want to cosplay? Have you done any cosplay before? Let us know. Find Beauties and Headcanons on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr to share your nerdy topic suggestions. Subscribe to this podcast and others from Public House Media on iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and wherever good podcasts are found.
We love feedback, so if you did like this episode, or even if you didn't, please give us a rating and a review so that we can keep making great episodes for you. I'm Emily.
I'm Elisabeth.
And I'm Lindsay, and thanks for getting nerdy with us today on Beauties and Headcanons.